What's going on? It is Ron Comes in Handy, the Tradesman Service and Solutions, and man, I had to throw in the towel on this job. Whew. So I was gonna make this video yesterday, but I was like too distraught. So let me tell you what happened. For those who've been watching me, y'all know that I get some of my jobs from Thumbtack, right? I actually haven't been using it for like a year or whatnot, because I just get clients from word of mouth or repeated clients, returning clients, right? One thing about Thumbtack is like you have to, if you don't want to use their service, you have to like hide. It's called hide your service for a certain amount of days. I think they only let you do like up to 4 weeks. So that's what I did, and I forgot that it was going to. And then after 4 weeks, it'll make your services live again. So I forgot it made my service live, and some client booked me, right? And I was like, okay, I have an open week, so let me go check this out. Client wanted 11 doors replaced and 1 bifold door replaced. Now, doors to me, they're not easy, they're not hard, they're just time consuming, right? Because especially if replacing it, you have to, score the trim, take it off, take off the door jamb, put the new, and then reverse it, right, to put the new one in. And let me tell you guys, I was overwhelmed. I underestimated how time consuming and how draining this job was going to be, and I think I bid it low. Let me tell you, I'll tell you the price. I usually don't tell you the price, but I'll tell you the price. I bid it $12.50 for the labor, right? That's 11 doors. It was almost like $100 for each door, right? What I didn't take in consideration, and this is what I have to start doing, when bidding a job, you have to look at the labor. You also have to look at where you're doing it. This guy had a nice house. You can imagine 11 doors. There's almost every door in the house, right? He had a 2-story. He wanted me to wear boot coverings. He wanted special instructions because he had an infant, and he's like, "Oh yeah, da 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 da." I had to do it in the garage, keep it going in and out the garage. It was just stuff that I didn't think about. That I was like, yeah, this should have added on to the labor. And then when he first told me about the job, he said, "Oh yeah, I want it painted too." I said, okay. Then he turned around and said, "Actually, I don't want to paint it." No problem, cool, easier for me. But then when I started the job, because we didn't start the job until like 3 weeks later. Then we started the job, he changed his mind again. So as I get there, he's like, "Oh yeah, I want to paint it now." I'm like, okay, no problem. That's where I messed up at, because it's double the work now. Because what I was thinking, what I wasn't thinking about was, I was thinking about, okay, let's put the doors up first, right? Then I'll come back and paint. And I was gonna spray the doors. I have a big drop cloth, and I was gonna, take the doors off, spray them, and then while they're drying, I'll paintbrush the trim. But then I thought about those stairs. So there's like 5 doors downstairs, 6 doors upstairs. Those stairs is what's gonna kill me. And then going down the stairs, having to watch out for these tight corridors I have to go through. What about the hanging chandelier? And I'm like, dang, man. So honestly, guys, the last day, which was yesterday, I tapped out. I finished doing the doors and caulking everything. And he's like, "Oh yeah, so you're gonna come back tomorrow for painting?" I said, "Hey man, I'm gonna be honest. I'm overwhelmed right now, and I underestimated this job and how challenging it was gonna be. I was like, I feel like I'm being, I feel like I'm being an inconvenience to you because I told you it was gonna be done in 3 days, and it's been like 6 days. I was like, hey man, I'll knock off $100. And surprisingly, he was very understanding. He was like, oh man, no, don't worry. Like, I understand what you're saying. You know, I work. I don't do handyman work, but I do know what it feels like to be overwhelmed and trying to meet a deadline and you don't meet that deadline and trying to put on too much work. He's like, you did a lot of work. I see you going up and down the stairs and being careful with my house. I was like, yeah, thank you, man. I was like, honestly, I just don't want to make your house. I feel like I'll make your house worse with the paint and stuff. He's like, yeah, it's okay. I'm like, okay, thank you, man. He's like, and don't worry about knocking up $100. I'll give you the whole thing. I was like, okay, cool. I was, and then what I think what messed me up was that I told him to order the wrong bifold doors. How the size of it was supposed to be 71, and I told him to get a 72. So luckily, he's like, I was about to say, hey, you know, I'll buy these off of you. I don't think you can return them because they're like custom made, right? He's like, oh no, he's like, I got a table saw in the back. Just use it to cut it. Cut like a half-inch off of both sides. I was like, okay, yeah, and it did it, and it worked. So he was very understanding, but man, as I'm getting further into my career, I'm starting to realize like I gotta have more contacts to help me out on jobs. Especially big jobs like this. I should have had, I mean, he told me no at first, but then he said yeah. As soon as he told me yeah, I should be like, okay, let me get a painter on call so he can help me paint these doors. So he can paint the doors while I put up the door jambs, and then, you know, that would have been a better way of doing it. Or you either have another painter or another person to help me out with installing these doors. We probably would have done it a lot faster. The problem is just in my area, the handyman I come across, they're like full-time like me. They don't have the time to come out and help me out, especially this long. So maybe I'm psyching myself out. Maybe I do have to reach out and try to find another handyman. I'm in the handyman groups in social media, so I could have done that. But I guess the moral of the story is that know your limit. Know your limit. And be smart about when you book jobs. You know, I don't actually feel bad for being truthful and be like, hey, like I'm overwhelmed right now. Like I made sure I finished the job I told him I was gonna do. I just couldn't do the add-on. And he actually texted me and said, hey, let me know if you change your mind, you know, even if the price changes for the painting. He's like, I'll love to have you back. I was like, oh, okay. Maybe I need to take a break. I don't know, but I had to throw in the towel for that because it was getting too much. I was overwhelmed. But I want to know how you guys feel about that, and if you guys ever had experience where you had like, yeah, this is too much for me, I have to stop. I've done this before. I wasn't overwhelmed. I just told this person I could do this job, and then I really couldn't. And that was when I was like first starting my handyman journey, and this client booked me to install crown molding in his house. And I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. I'm thinking it's like baseboard, but crown molding, you have to angle it a certain way and cut it a certain way and then miter it. Yeah, I told the guy, hey man, look, I thought I could do it, but I can't. Sorry. Well, let me know your guys' thoughts. Tell me a story where you had to throw in the towel and you couldn't do the job. All right, guys, see you later.